Bitcoin's adoption is sending a message to its detractors. It's loud and direct like a new S21J miner. The message is also roundabout and subversive like Hayek suggested as the only way to take money out from control of the governments. Sometimes I feel the owners of the fiat system may not realize what's happening. And I'm certain that many common consumers don't realize they're more akin to prisoners than free actors. So to level set everyone, here's an open letter to the captors from Sir Ulric's point of view, not speaking for anyone else. These captors go by many names, but I know them as the Cantillonaires.
And I have come to the position of asking, has monetary policy ever done any good? I don't think it has. I think it has done only harm, and that's why I am now pleading for what I've called denationalization of money.
It's Sir Ulric, and this time no signal meter, no culture corner either. This video I'm talking to the Cantillonaires. In case you're unaware of that concept, they are the group of people that disproportionately benefit from the change in money supply by being able to make purchases before the economy discovers the new free market price. Your first response is, of course, to deny such benefits exist. But this defies clear, observable, and rational economic understanding. The demographic of people you have convinced to ignore this are distracted, blind, and aloof, preferring a soft, aimless prison to the hard truth. You Cantillonaires have unlocked the two routes of unlimited success in this time in history. One, you acquire and maintain office in the government as close to the money printer as possible. Two, you provide a good or service where your most important or even only customer is the entity in charge of the money printer. There are multiple degrees of intensity to these paths, but the truth remains. Number one can in theory never run out of money. And number two can in theory never care about productivity or competition beyond satisfying and politicking sufficiently to this chief customer. You have purposefully allowed a shroud of confusion and obscurity to hide these facts, thus turning would-be neutral individuals into political acolytes against each other as they try to solve in vain apparent problems that prosper you. The capitalist at heart believes the state is fully to blame, and the socialist is a byproduct of what seems like capitalism has failed because of sinful greed. All the while, you have mutated every society in the world, including America, into a cronyist caste system where you use your power not to produce value, but to protect the stake that you have acquired. A dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisper separates close friends. But I am here to tell you, Cantillonaires, that I don't blame you. You are working out your incentives with the tools you have at your disposal. The value proposition of the money printer is too great for any small group of elites to resist. To ensure this construct is preserved regardless of democratic outcome, you have created a partisan monopoly or consortium in all your governments, thereby making it exceptionally difficult for an ungroomed political body to ever be strong enough to abolish the practice of monetary supply expansion, manipulation, or weaponization. And while the things that you do are self-interested, they benefit such a small minority of the population and hurt conversely such a large majority that you would almost have me act as a utilitarian and claim this construct is wrong because it goes against the greater good. But this too is terribly wrong. For you have used this very rationale of the greater good to justify your greatest crimes. Theft, overt, subvert, theft of the right to hold value, theft of the right to communicate value. Your monopoly on money is in stark violation of the only fundamental right we have, property rights. Your creation of new units of money cause existing units that other people possess to lose their pre-existing level of scarcity. This enables those that receive those new units to outbid others for goods and services. This is clearly a slow and subversive wealth transfer. That transfer is cronyism, where the central authority skews the economic rules to benefit the ones of their choosing, to gain power and prominence. Your monopoly over value exchange causes people to lose their ability to trade their labor time with deferred choice like money is intended. Your ability to unilaterally starve, blockade, and suffocate people from critical trade for medicine, dietary staples, and energy under the moniker of sanctions causes collateral damage to millions for the sake of targeting a select few political enemies. The greater good is clearly a euphemism for your greater good. Your monetary policy has incapacitated an entire generation from being able to purchase homes, all to bail out companies critical to the economy. Ask the millions of millennials that you priced out of the market what is the greater good in their eyes. Your fiscal policy has siphoned increasingly more value out of productive society with no benefit. Education costs skyrocket. Medical care costs skyrocket. Insurance costs skyrocket. These are some of the most regulated industries we have. Why do they hurt people so much? They are much worse than the cost of gas, meat, and eggs. With all the foreign aid dispersed, homelessness in the USA could have ended 3 times over. At first glance, one may ask, why not? Then the rational answer comes quickly. Why would you? If I happen to find magic dollars under my chair every week, what would I do? I would buy Bitcoin. So what would you central planning Cantillonaires do? Buy property, buy people, and buy influence to increase your, power.
I don't believe that we should ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. Then we can't take them violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is, by some sly roundabout way, introduce something they can't stop.
I feel sorry for you Cantillonaires because this vague suggestion from Hayek 40 years ago is material and real now, and there's nothing you can do. Do you ignore it? The value of your dollar or euro or yen savings related to Bitcoin will just die in time. It may take 5, 10, 20 years, but it will happen. Do you ban it? Well, you soon learn its open source and decentralization make that endeavor impossible unless you're to ban the internet in that same region. Do any Cantillonaires want their lives to go backwards? No. Do you adopt it too? Well, now you're just devaluing the local currency and the source of your power with every Satoshi you buy. You Cantillonaires figured out the secret to life. Like I said before, 1, own the money printer. 2, provide direct service to the owner of the money printer. These paths are now becoming obsolete. Now Bitcoin miners are the theoretical money printer, but every unit created was predetermined well before you even knew what Bitcoin was. Your only hope for these units is to commit computing power yourself to help secure the network. This requires real competition. Cronyism for endless money will simply not work. If mining is not possible, you must create value. In other words, you must create something of quality enough to encourage someone to part with their Bitcoin. For many of you Cantillonaires, it is a completely alien path. You have only known coercion and government-aided monopoly. Grants, funding, regulations, and executive orders, that time is nearing its close. With Bitcoin as the apex monetary asset, governments will no longer be able to fund your dystopian, imbalanced world because they won't have the real money to do so. Their spending, just like everyone else, will be constrained to their actual savings. Unless you want to accept that old technology on the verge of hyperinflation, that's impossible to know how much it is worth at any given time. Remember when that was our only option? It's amazing the horrible monopolies that happen under the watch of the state when the state is supposed to stop that very thing. While this may be a painful transition, it won't last long. Bitcoiners obviously have a good eye for identifying value. They will be the new liquidity for the future market. They will buy up all your companies and make them more efficient. They will rely on productivity rather than policy to prosper. And if they don't, you can work harder and buy them back when or if they falter. You call this nonsense? How short your memory is. 10 years ago, people said the same thing about Bitcoin. What do you think will happen in the next 10 years? This is a technology that is getting more users, not fewer. People will store more of their money directly on the internet, not to get rich, but to be safe. Safe from people like you. And when enough people realize that you need them more than they need you, it's over. Global hyper Bitcoinization. And it will happen sooner than you think. I am Sir Ulric, like my father before me. Bitcoin is low time preference money, so buy it for your last name, not your first.